most of you want to learn how to make men's clothes, but I know that you guys are having problems finding somebody that will truthfully teach you. And I understand that because a lot of people in this community like to act like certain secrets are the keys to eternal life, so they don't really want to show you. But I'm sure I'm checking to see if they've come, because if they should catch me teaching you guys how to do this thing, they'll probably burn me at stake or kill me or something. But anyway, in this video I'm going to show you how to draft a senator. I'm going to show you how to draft a senator, and I'm going to show you how to sew it in the next video. So this is part 1 of part 2, so please stay tuned. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please subscribe. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and also please share this video, because these people don't want you to see to know how to draft a senator. Okay, but I want you guys to know how to do it, so please don't forget to subscribe. Yo, what's up? Welcome to my channel. So these are the measurements we are going to need. Please, if you want, you could write them down. So now we are going to fold our fabric using the biggest measurement around the body divided by 4 plus the allowance we intend to use. So for this, we're going to use 4 inches for the allowance that we're going to use, and I'm going to explain that as the video progresses. So I'm going to draw a line from the edge, 1/2 inch, and then, unlike my regular bodice where I keep my tape at the 1/2 inch, now because of I'm making the shirts, I'm going to come down. As you can see, this shirt, the shoulder line is a bit lower. It's not at the edge like you have on t-shirts and on dresses and stuff. The cut is going to come down a bit, so that's why I'm throwing away 2 inches there, so that by the time we would be done, our back would come into the front and give us that shoulder that would be lower than where we have our regular shoulders. So now from this point, I'm going to mark all my vertical measurements. The first measurement I've dropped there is my shoulder to my chest at 11 inches. The shoulder to where the belly is 20 inches. I'm going to make a mark there. And after that, the next measurement I'm going to drop is the shirt length. Now the shirt length I'm marking is 36 inches. When I'm done, I'm going to rule horizontal lines across all those points that I have marked. So now I'm rolling a line across where I marked my shoulder to chest. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my shoulder measurements. My shoulder is 18, divided by 2 is 9. So I'm dropping my shoulder at 9. So unlike a regular bodice where the next thing is our neckline with our neckline there, what I'm going to do next is to slope my shoulder by 2 inches. So as you can see, it's not always 2 inches depending on the size of the shoulder. Follow the guidelines that I have dropped there. Now I'm sloping my shoulder. It is at this point. So before we go to the armhole, I'm going to draw a parallel line at my shoulder. That is my sewing allowance. The sewing allowance I always keep at the shoulder. So that line is 1/2 inch wide. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place my armhole. Now I'm placing my armhole. As you can see, look at where I'm placing my 2 inches. I'm placing my 2 inches at that armhole point, and that is where I'm placing my armhole. Please do not make a mistake. Remember, we're throwing out 2 inches because we want the back to come into the front. Now I'm going to roll another line, and then I'm going to place my tape. I'm going to find the middle of my armhole. Now the middle of my armhole is 4.5, so I've made a 1/2 inch point there, and I'm making my armhole curve. Now please do not forget that I kept my 2 inches at that armhole point. That's because I'm throwing away 2 inches for the back. Please do not make a mistake there. If not, you have an armhole that's sitting too low. So these are all my lines. Now please, I hope you copied down the measurements that I displayed on the screen at first. Please copy them down, they'll really help you. So here I'm placing my chest measurements. That's my chest divided by 4, which is 11. I'm also placing my belly divided by 4 at 11. At the belly, my belly, which is 11, I'm placing it at that point where I marked my shoulder to my belly. and I place the same thing at the hem. So I place 11 everywhere. So as you can see, so please, it is not always the same thing everywhere. It's just because of the person's measurement. Sometimes the belly might be smaller, but I like making it the same thing because he's wearing the senator from up. He's wearing the senator from down up. Now the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm coming down by 2.5. That 2.5 is where I intend to place my slit. Before I get to that point, I'm going to place all my allowances. So I usually place 1.5 inches. So as you can see, I'm placing 1.5 at that point, placing 1.5 everywhere. When I'm done with that, I'm going to just simply roll a straight line from top to bottom. So I'm going to transfer that point from there to there. That's where I mark my 2.5. I'm still marking the same thing on where I kept my allowance. After the 1.5, I'm going to keep 2.5. That's going to be where I'm going to drop my slits. So at the bottom of the shirt, I'm keeping 2 inches for my hemming allowance. From the line, I'm coming down by 2 inches. And I'm rolling a straight line from top to bottom. So back to the point where we had our slits, I'm simply going to roll a horizontal line, and I'm going to connect that point to the points at the bottom. So nice and easy, I'm going to roll a line from top to bottom. Now we are done with drafting the front. Now I'm simply going to cut it out. Now just to add, the shoulder, the belly isn't always the same thing with the chest. Most people, the chest is bigger than the belly. The person I'm making for has a protruding stomach. But if you have a person that has a smaller belly, or a belly that's significantly smaller, please, you can make it to be place the actual measurements there, but be careful so that it's not too tight. But usually I like placing my chest and my belly the same thing, to be exactly the same. Now I'm cutting the front using the back. I'm cutting the back using the front. So I place the front on top of my fabric. So when I marked 2 inches in the front, what it meant is that I've subtracted 2 inches from the back too. So now that I'm about to cut the back, I'm going to have to replace back the 2 inches for the front and the 2 inches for the back. So that is 2 plus 2 plus half inch is going to be 4.5. 2 plus 2 is 4 plus half inch, 4.5. So I'm going to come up. The reason why it's 4.5 is because I'm first of all paying for the 2 inches that we took away from the front and the 2 inches that we took away from the back by automatically placing the front on the back. Then I'm keeping half inch for sewing allowance. That's what I have done here. And I've rolled a line. I'm simply going to cut it like that. I'm going to turn it over. And then I'm going to extend the armhole line to the top. Now remember that the armhole at the back is not the same thing with the armhole at the front. Okay, now I'm going to cut out every other thing that has to do address of the every other thing is exactly the same. The only place where there are differences is at the neckline and shoulder neckline and at the armhole. For every other place, we'll place it the same. Please do not make a mistake. The reason I added 4.5 to the back because of we took away 2 inches from the front, and by doing that we automatically took away 2 inches from the back. So when I placed my front and my back to cut, what I did was I first paid back the 2 inches that we took from the front, and then I added 2 inches to the back and then half inch for allowance. Please, I hope you understand. If I was drafting a senator that have a facing, which is this an example of what a facing is, but this one I'm making has piping. This is an example of piping. So for this one it has piping. Please listen closely. If we're drafting a senator that had facing around the neck, I'll divide the neck by 2 and subtract 1 inch from it, because the facing that I would add would have subtracted the 1 inch by the time I'm turning everything. But as for the one I'm making here, is using piping, not facing, so I do not need to subtract anything because the piping will sit around the neck exactly. In my next video you will see how that is done. That's when I'm sewing. You'll see what the piping is. I'll also make a video where I use facing to sew my I made a senator that has facing instead of piping. So as you can see, I've used my neck divided by 2 and I'm using it to form a semicircle, and I'm carefully marking around the circle, the semicircle, sorry, and I'm connecting all the dots now. So my neck divided by 2 was 8.25, so I placed a semicircle with 8.25 and then made the curve. Now if I was making a senator that was using facing instead of piping, my neck was going to be 7.25, not 8.25. So but since I'm using piping, I divided my neckline by 2 and I did not subtract anything from it. If I was making a neck that had a facing, I was going to subtract 1 inch from it, because when I'm turning my facing around the neck, it would take away the 1 inch that the 1 inch excess, and then to land at the 8.25 exactly. Please do not make that mistake. So now that we are done, this is what we have. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to cut the sleeve. So you're going to keep the shoulder exactly the way it was, and you're going to measure from the top. You're going to measure around the armhole to the bottom part, and we have 11. I'm going to write that down. Now I have a video on this channel where I have shown you guys how to draft the sleeve. If you have not seen the video, please check the links below. It is the second video that I posted on this channel, and that would give you a proper explanation of how to cut the sleeve. So this is just me, a clip of me cutting the sleeve. If you have any confusions, I would recommend that video. This is, if you click the video that you can see right here on the banner above, it will direct you to the video on how to cut the sleeve. So I'm drafting my sleeve, and the middle of the sleeve coming in by, just go and see the video. It would really help you out. What I'm doing here is a bit rushed, so if you see the video on the sleeve, it would help you better understand whatever I'm doing here. Now I'm placing my sleeve length. I've placed my sleeve length. So now I'm trying to cut the yoke for the back of my senator. So I'm going to cut a piece of fabric. When it comes to yoke, I don't think there are any laws. You can play with this however you want. Some people like making the hem of the yoke to be a V. Some people, you can get creative with it. But what I like doing is I'm going to place the fabric like so, and I'm going to cut it. I'm done. This is the front, sleeves, back, and the yoke. Thank you for watching. Please, the video on how to sew this is coming next. Don't forget to share the video. Have a nice day.